Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are and whenever you're tuning in. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. We're going to get started with the live stream here momentarily. We'll give it another minute or so for people to jump on. Mr. Mankey, Kevin, welcome. Let's go. You bet. It got muted though. Yeah, the stocks were starting to come back down again after the news. There was some FUD that came out. We'll discuss that in just a moment. But before we get started, make sure to smash the like. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll get started here in about a half a minute or so. There we go. There's all the wonderful and beautiful people joining the live stream. I see there's tons of people rolling in now. Welcome. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we're going to get started here in about 15 seconds. Cincinnati, nice. Welcome, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. It is Thursday. It's May 16th, another historic day for the MJ industry. We had an announcement from Joe Biden. Basically, the first time he's addressed rescheduling and he's endorsing it. Seen a lot of articles saying that rescheduling is official. That is not true. It's the process is formally initiated. So it's not actually happening yet. The process is actually going a lot quicker than most said, or most thought. But I have a real question for everybody. And just, call the press, do whatever you got to do. We got to get this out to as many people as possible, okay? But real talk. Did Ann Milgram sign it? Because if Ann Milgram didn't say it was okay, then, screw Merrick Garland, screw the DOJ in general, screw the DEA. We need to know, did Ann Milgram sign it? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that. If that's, do you think she signed it? No, all in good fun, but we're going to be discussing all of that and more. The rescheduling process officially started. That's the better way to look at it is it's officially started. It's not confirmed. A lot of people are reporting, oh, it's official. No, that's not true. It's the process is official, and this is the first time that the Biden administration and Biden himself has addressed it. We know that there were some FUD articles, which I said there'd be no shortage of. There were some FUD articles saying that the White House wouldn't address it. And then Ann Milgram said that she wouldn't comment on it because the process was ongoing. And today was just the nail in the coffin, so to speak, saying that the process has officially begun. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future live streams such as this or anytime I post new content. And as always, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or anything that I write. I've also been communicating this out to the community and on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward, so you can follow us over there. But yeah, the real question of the day, did Ann Milgram sign this? Oh man, so funny, that Kevin Sabat, he's probably at clown school right now with Ron to Clown. I think they're like a year or two into clown school, so wish them all the best as they wrap up their sophomore. I can't even keep going without laughing, but oh man, just so funny, right? You can see through all of the smoke and mirrors that these clowns just try to, they try to instill as much fear as possible. And we had this news here, this MJ Moment article. Biden makes historic MJ rescheduling announcement, applauding monumental move to reverse longstanding inequities. And then shortly after, Attorney General formally moves to reschedule MJ, but DEA signals resistance despite DOJ legal review. So stocks are going up. Oh, we got to pour some water, not fire, right? We don't want to put fuel on the fire. We want to put water on the fire because we still have to get our big friends, our Wall Street banks, right? Our friends involved. Get the JP Morgans, the Morgan Sachs, the Goldman, the Black Rocks of the world, right? We got to get them positioned first. And as we know, the NASDAQ is warming up to Canadian MJ companies with a U.S. exposure. Could American growers be next? So sort of just foreshadowing what's coming. And I think this is the next thing that a lot of people aren't seeing coming. Curaleaf, Boris Jordan said that they've been in contact with a U.S. major exchange about potential uplisting. There's nothing that is preventing these companies from uplisting to the NYSE or the NASDAQ. And apparently they're talking to one another now as well. It's basically just optics. And, they don't want, when something is a Schedule 1 on the same as, heroin, which we know that MJ right now is, even if it gets rescheduled, it's still right now lower than fentanyl, right? So this has to change. And Biden mentioned that in his video. If you haven't seen that, I can play it real quick here too. It wasn't very long. Let's just give it a quick play.
This is monumental. Today, my administration took a major step to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug. It's an important move toward reversing long-standing inequities. Today's announcement builds on the work we've already done to pardon a record number of federal offenses for simple possession of marijuana. And it adds to the action we've taken to lift barriers to housing, employment, small business loans, and so much more for tens of thousands of Americans. Look, folks, no one should be in jail merely for using or possessing marijuana, period. Far too many lives have been upended because of failed approach to marijuana, and I'm committed to righting those wrongs. You have my word on it.
All right, so great video. I mean, obviously he couldn't come out the day after the DOJ or HHS, right? He has to come out a couple weeks after, has to, keep everybody in limbo and say, oh, is it happening? Is it not happening? You get the Sam and smart approaches to MJ coming out with their dumb approaches to MJ and just spewing all kinds of nonsense because they've been in clown school for too long. But whatever, at the end of the day, it's going to happen. I've said for many times now, I've been saying I almost sound like a broken record sometimes. But, and I kind of drive myself crazy because I keep repeating it, but people really need to hear it. And I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. And I don't, I try not to hurt anybody's feelings, obviously, but, I really don't care what people think. I really don't, because I genuinely come from a place of care and logic and, trying to come to the most logical and sensible solution and outcome. And I've been saying for a while now that it's either Schedule 3 or descheduling. There is no other option. It's going to be Schedule 3 or descheduling. And the fact that, the U.S. is moving very, very fast. I mean, Cresco CEO, there's tons of CEOs that have been saying that rescheduling is more than likely going to happen before the election. I think Boris Jordan said it as well. But we know this because if they don't get it done before the election, like, they're going to piss a lot of people off. And they're appealing to the young voters. And as of right now, the Republicans are endorsing crypto. So it's going to be like a crypto versus MJ. But, essentially, when the article came out, it was this one here. I'm just going to bring it up real quick. So I remember I didn't have it up. So, and in my interview here, if you go to videos, if you haven't seen it, in my video with my interview with Morgan Fox, political director at Normal, he said, oh, this process could take years. And I'm like, yeah. If you're somebody who doesn't understand financial markets, because we're a financial show, right? He's not in financial markets. Nothing. Love Morgan, great work. Keep up the great work, Morgan. This isn't a knock on Morgan. It's just he doesn't really understand financial markets, and he's not really in the mind of a market maker. I try to do my best to think like a market maker. Like, how can I be the biggest piece of crap, right? How can I be the biggest Wall Street crook ever? And that's basically how I come to a lot of these thesis. How I come to these outcomes is because I just try to put myself in the shoes of a Wall Street crook, right? So, kudos to him for not, being, an absolute piece of crap. But, you have to kind of think like a piece of crap. What would these, Wall Street banks do? And that's what I am very good at, is learning their game, the way that, because you can't beat them, right? So you have to join them and then intercept that money from them to yourself, and then pass it on to you and your family and your children and your children's children to do good with it, instead of giving it to them to do more bad, right? So at the end of the day, he said it could take years, but just like I said before when I interviewed him, I was like, no, I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than most people think. And again, the thing that you need to remember, and I'm going to make myself full screen to get this point ahead and across. Nothing happens. I'm going to repeat this twice. Nothing happens without the big Wall Street banks. Your JP Morgans, your Morgan Stanleys, your Goldman Sachs, your BlackRocks, etc. Nothing happens in the world without those banks, okay? So what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to get uplisted to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, so that they're going to start convincing the NASDAQ. And, a lot of them are invested in a lot of these Fortune 500 companies, and big alcohol and tobacco companies are invested in the Canadian companies. And as we know, they're starting to create these types of SPVs, so special purpose vehicles, through exchangeable shares, non-voting rights, so Canopy, Constellation, they now have the exchangeable shares, SNDL, Sunstream, their inroad into the U.S. Tillray has a lot of operations in the U.S. under its alcohol beverage. They could potentially take a stake in MedMen. There's lots of chatter right now behind that. Jones Soda's partnering with Tillray, and they're looking more and more like an MJ company by the day. So, the writing's on the wall here, and we're more than likely going to get uplisting and safe banking, in my opinion, at some point very, very soon. And then, rescheduling could happen. I wanted to bring up this article here as well. So Morgan said that, and then it could take multiple years. And then there's a ton of other people saying, that it could take multiple years. And this article here. So Adam Jackson on the Green Market Report, long road ahead for U.S. MJ rescheduling. Well, apparently the U.S. government moves really slow, but this time they're moving very, very fast, right? And even whenever I interviewed Morgan Fox the first time, he said that, there's no precedent like this, them looking to reschedule could take years as well. And it was like, bam, like he's like, the DEA doesn't want to do it at all. And then bam, HHS comes out, DEA not long after, like 8 months after. And then here, look, OMB review. The Office of Management and Budget analyzes the proposed rule before returning it to the DEA for publication in the Federal Register. Up to 90 days. So it's been 16 days. When did it come out? It was on the 30th. So yeah, it's been 16 days. So we're 74 days ahead of schedule. And then as the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, takes its first step in reclassifying MJ's drug status, the stage is set for the traffic, blah, blah, blah. Where'd it go? Did they change the wording? No way. I think they changed it. I think they edited this article. Oh, man. Okay. Now we live in like a huge... Now we know 10,000% that this is manipulated. What is going on here? It used to say 7 years. Oh, my God. These scumbags. It said it could take up to 7 years. Yeah, they changed it. I swear to God. Yeah, I think it was right here. I think it used to say 7 years. You guys remember? I'll see if I can go back and find that video real quick. I did not see that. I would have been prepared and had it up. Sorry about that, folks, but where the hell was that? Okay, so here's where it came out. What date? Okay, let's just filter by date. So it was on May 7th. So here was 2 weeks ago, 12 days ago. So May 7th would have been about 9 days ago. So it would have been about 9 days ago. So it was right around here when the FUD all started. Kevin, was it in this video? Probably going to hit with a... What's a good thing about my MJ videos is they get flagged and don't allow ads, so I don't have to wait for that ad at the beginning. Yeah, I think it was in this video because it was like the FUD video. Anyways, I'm going to have to spend too much time finding it. But anyways, I've already done a video on this, and it used to say 7 years. It could take up to 7 years, but okay, let's just get ahead. So 90 days, let's just do a quick ad. So 90 plus 90 plus up to a year, 365. A few months to over a year, so we'll do another 365. And 30 days. And then 3 years. So we'll do, well, I don't know if I can do math that good. Plus 365, plus 365, plus 365. Okay, so 2,035 days divided by 365. So yeah, 5.5 years, basically, right? But yeah, up to 3 years if challenged. So yeah, in the article it said 7 years, but they removed that because now they're probably, yeah, I don't know why they would do that. But anyways, you know, we can add up those timelines. But essentially, Just the manipulation is crazy, right? They just try to create as much FUD as possible. Now they're trying to get people bullish again. It's just like ebbs and flows of the market. But yeah, here's the process that happened. So OMB review up to 90 days. It only took 16 days. So there were 74 days ahead of schedule, which is great to see. And then, yeah, some of these people saying it's going to take multiple years. I think it could be done before the election. I still think there's a small chance of descheduling, but ultimately it's more than likely going to be Schedule 3. And Germany's looking to make moves toward Pillar 2. And I want to talk about international treaties here in just a moment as well. But yeah, so the Office of Management and Budget analyzes the proposed rule before returning it to the DEA for publication in the Federal Register. So here's the article here. Attorney General formally moves to reschedule MJ, but DEA signals resistance despite DOJ legal review. So here it is. The Justice Department announced on Thursday that Attorney General Merrick Garland has formally initiated the process to reschedule MJ, releasing DOJ's proposed rule and a separate legal opinion that informed the decision, by which also seemed to signal skepticism from the Drug Enforcement Administration. Shortly after President Joe Biden announced that the administration is moving to reclassify MJ as a Schedule 3 drug under the Controlled Substances Act, CSA, the DOJ said Garland has submitted to the Federal Register a notice of proposed rulemaking initiating a formal rulemaking process. But the real question, though, did Ann Milgram sign it? Oh, it's just so funny. But that's the part there, right? Publication to the Federal Register. So we'll move through a little bit quicker here. So now it's a 60-day comment period. And then here it said public comment period 30 to 90 days. So it's just like everybody thinks they know what they're talking about. No one has a freaking clue. At the end of the day, it's going to be Schedule 3 or descheduling. Like that, and if it gets to Schedule 3, it's going to be descheduled eventually. It's just a matter of time. Someone asked me today, I think it was Jeremy in the Power Group private community, shout out to Jeremy. He's like, what is it going to take for Tillray to go up? I was like, time. It's going to take time, right? It's going to go up. It's just, there's leaders and laggards, right? But yeah, this is the 60-day comment period that's kicking off. So they go through, this is a really long article, but yeah, they talk about some sort of, let me just go here. So the draft rule points out that following a scientific review directed by Biden and the HHS concluded that Schedule 3 reclassification was appropriate. However, the DEA has not yet made a determination as to its views of the appropriate schedule for MJ. Well, guess what? If the president, Vice President Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are tweeting on 420 at 420. Okay, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out that where we're going here, right? All these MJ CEOs are saying it's getting rescheduled. The writing's on the wall. The FDA said there's no reason why they should drag their feet and delay rescheduling. Amazon, Apple, Uber, all back rescheduling and reform. Like, it's going to happen. But the first thing that's going to happen is uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ for these U.S. MSOs, get the Wall Street crooks and banks. Banks, not crooks, or you know what I mean. I just, this is like crooks is just ingrained into my brain. So let me just go. The CSA vests the Attorney General with the authority to schedule, reschedule, and decontrol drugs, it says. The Attorney General has delegated that authority to the DEA administrators, so Ann Milgram. So maybe she will sign it, but also retains the authority to schedule drugs under the CSA in the first instance. There you go. Okay, so we'll go through a little bit quicker. There's a part on international treaties here. I encourage you to read this whole thing. I'm not going to come on here and waste everybody's time and read it. I know people are not. I know people are literate, so I'm not going to come on here. And some people like me to read it because then they don't, if they're driving or something like that. But you just put it in your headphones. But I try not to just come on here and read things as much as possible, but unless it's super important. But here, we'll read this part here. So finally, it concluded, wait a sec. Yeah. So finally, it concluded that neither the United Nations, UN, Single Convention Treaty, nor the CSA, and in this video here with Morgan, he mentioned that he didn't think that it was going to violate any international treaties with regards to the Single Convention in the UN. So again, we were kind of given a heads up on that. Plus, what about Canada? Even Trudeau said that, the Prime Minister of Canada said that, we're over 5 years legal here at the federal level, and we've never once been approached by the UN about legalizing. So there's never been a problem in Canada. Germany just legalized, is looking to fast track Pillar 2. So, all of this going on, right, is like the U.S. has to get something done, right? So you just use this to your advantage, right? It's like with all of the things that I mentioned before, and all of that what I just mentioned now. I mean, what is the probability of the U.S. rescheduling or descheduling? One of those two has to happen, right? And then uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. Funny how we're just starting to hear about, the NASDAQ's warming up to U.S. Canadian companies with U.S. exposure, and Curaleaf's talking to a U.S. major exchange about uplisting, and the NYSE and the NASDAQ are talking about it now. There's nothing preventing them. It's just their own decision and optics, and they don't want to look bad. And, it's still on the Schedule 1, so Schedule 3 is going to help with that. Cue the news. Like, we're going to continue to get more and more news, more and more companies, Fortune 500 companies getting into the space. We're going to see uplisting. These companies are going to feel way more comfortable backing it and talking about it and investing in the space. Even Kevin O'Leary said he wanted to invest in an MJ company, but his lawyer said as soon as they're like, are you effing stupid? As soon as he said it was on the same schedule as heroin, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can't touch it until it's rescheduled, right? So like the floodgate, we are so early, right? This is only going to happen once, and we are front running the institutions, similar to crypto, right? We're front running the institutions and the big investors and, the moguls out there. So take advantage of it. But here it is. So finally, it concluded that neither the United Nations Single Convention Treaty nor the CSA require the DEA to keep MJ in either Schedule 1 or Schedule 2, as the agency has asserted in previous rejections of rescheduling petitions such as the 2016 denial. Both the Single Convention and the CSA allow the DEA to satisfy the United States' international obligations by supplementing scheduling decisions with regulatory action, at least in circumstances where there is a modest gap between the Convention's requirements and the specific restrictions that follow from a drug's placement on a particular schedule, OLC said. As a result, the DEA may satisfy the United States Single Convention obligations by placing MJ in Schedule 3 while imposing additional restrictions pursuant to the CSA's regulatory authorities. Certain conservative congressional lawmakers and prohibitionists, Kevin Sam, groups have insisted that MJ cannot be placed in Schedule 3 without violating international treaty obligations. But as we know, clowns who go to clown school for a reason, because they're not smart. S-M-A-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T. You guys know that reference? But yeah, that's so funny that they removed the 7 years from there. But if we add it up, the stupidity does remain. So we'll see. I mean, anybody with half a brain or like an eighth, 100th of a brain, 7 years to reschedule? Come on. No, it's not going to take that long. Like, not at all. But again, show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. We confirmed a monthly uptrend on MSOS ETF, the first time in history, way back in February. And here we are higher than we were. So gearing up for the first ever EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We're looking real good here in the weekly time frame. We just had a stochastic bull cross, and the MACD is lining up for a weekly bull cross as well. And we're back above that 10-week moving average. On the weekly time frame here, we're gearing up for the first ever 50 and 100 weekly moving average, but we're above all of those as well. But first time in ever, those will cross bullish when the shorter term's below the longer term. That's very, very bullish. And we just had a golden cross as well, and we're above all of our daily moving averages. So when you're above all of your daily moving averages, all of your weekly, like, game on. Monthly uptrend, first in history, first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. Like, let's go, right? Let's pour fuel on this fire, not water. And FUD. FUD being water, and just honesty, and honesty being, fuel, because like there's so much FUD and just, people just disingenuous in this industry. Is not so much in our industry, but the people who are supposedly, advocating for it and endorsing it. Like, when the Dems took control, and I'm not getting political, I'm in Canada, I don't care. But, if you say you're going to legalize it and it's taken this long, like, come on, and you're not, and DOJ comes out, HHS comes out, DOJ comes out after and says, we're going to agree with HHS, and it takes 2 weeks for the White House to come, over 2 weeks for the White House to come out and Biden to say something. Like, come on, give me a break, right? Just imagine if the Republicans start to push MJ and crypto. It's like you'd win by a landslide. I don't know why they wouldn't. But anyway, again, this is why I don't do politics, because I absolutely hate it. But yeah, on the daily time frame, we got as high as 1050 today on MSOS, and then started to pull back. Like I said, cue the fire. Got to put fire on the fire, or water on the fire. Sorry, and then we had next resistance at 1137, which was our high of the bounce there on the monthly time frame, and the high of last month. But after that, we've got lack of resistance till 1460, so 15 psychological. And then after that, there's no real monthly resistance till 3370, and then the all-time high there at 5575. But yeah, just taking a look at the names. I'll jump into the chat here in a second. GDNS, AYR, and Cresco. So Goodness Growth, AYR, and Cresco leading the bull list today. On the bear list, we had LOWL, BAM, and RWB. And on Canadian side, we had PWR, CGC, and Oxley leading the bull list. And on the bear side, we had Labs, INCR, and PCLO. All right, lots of comments. Jumping in. Let's do it. And I don't know if everybody saw it today. The U.S. stocks are now going to settle with T+1. So essentially, they're going to settle in one business day. So remember how when you go to do like tax loss harvesting, you have to sell 3 days before the end of the year? That's because it takes 3 days to settle on the back end and go through the clearing houses. So that's only going to be 1 day. And eventually, like I've been saying for a while now, it's going to be on the blockchain soon enough where stocks are just going to settle in like 3 seconds, more than likely on the XRP ledger. But yeah, interesting times ahead. It's so funny how you can, pay attention to, because most people just get bored, right? And they don't pay attention to all this. But, if you really do cover it and put in your, thousands of hours, you can really start to piece all this stuff together, and try not to let emotions cloud your judgment either, because that's what the whole thing is designed to do. Roller coaster, Gemless. Yeah, you bet. That's what they do. Yo, everybody. Yo. Hot Doc, how you doing? Pretty sure it's going to be a constant uptrend now. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think they're going to just ebb and flow it, right? There's going to be, there's definitely going to be an uptrend. Like we're in an uptrend on MSOS, first in history, monthly uptrend. But, there's going to be 20, 30% pullbacks along the way. And that doesn't mean that the bull run's over. It's just, there's going to be rips and dips, and it's not uncommon, right? With volatility, we want the big pullbacks, because with big pullbacks comes big expansions, right? So if we want volatility in all directions. If something's down 90% from all-time highs, well, that's volatility. That is good, because, for everybody that's down 90%, there's people that are up 10x, 20x, 100x, right? And MJ is one of those industries where it's, in my opinion, the second most volatile asset class on the planet and sector on the planet. First one being crypto. Hype about Ohio next month. Yeah, you bet. They're going to be commencing the beginning of next month, I believe, right? So a lot of people were saying it was this month. Now it's next month. So we'll, take it with a grain of salt, obviously. We'll see, but it's looking like next month. Thanks for the live stream, you bet. How you doing, Strone? Thanks for joining the stream. Cleveland in the house. Very nice. Rob the man, the legend. Thank you. I appreciate it. Just a regular old dude, though. Yeah. I was talking today, a lot of these other media companies, they're getting paid by these MJ companies to promote them. And I've never, ever, when I started this channel, I really started it in the summer of 2020. As when I really started feeling comfortable to do videos and come on camera and stuff. But, I didn't have, I was just a regular retail investor. I don't have any connections on Wall Street. I don't have any connections in the MJ industry. I'm just a regular guy, from little old Prince Edward Island, population 100,000 people, 150,000 people. And, I never even moved away from PI. I'm telling you, I'm from a small town of, maybe 100 people where I lived. And I've grown this channel. I've grown myself, and I just have a will, and I've never taken one penny from any of these MJ companies. And at the end of the day, I try to be as unbiased as possible. And not to say that I wouldn't. If some company approached me, and if an MJ company approached me and said, hey, we want to pay you money, I'd be like, okay, sure, why not? I don't hate money. Why would I not accept that? But it'd have to be in an ethical way, and I'd have to disclose that, right? But as of right now, all of what I do is, as a retail investor, it's purely out of the goodness out of my heart, and just wanting to help each and every one of you, because I see how manipulated these markets are. And like I said, to show you that article, they literally took the 7 years out of there, and it's laughable almost. And what was I thinking about today? There was an article about Warren Buffett's new stock pick, and he's been secretly accumulating this one, and it was Chubb. And I actually worked with Chubb in my day. I've worked with them, I don't know how many times during my day job. and they do security systems. I think that's the Chubb they were referring to. But anyway, I didn't really care because I'm not going to buy it anyway. But then I look at the chart, and the chart's like all-time highs, like up like 300% from the lows of March 2020. And I'm like, you know what? Like, shame on them, obviously, for like shilling this at the all-time high and saying, oh, Warren Buffett, you know. But where's Warren Buffett at? Why isn't he coming out telling people, maybe you shouldn't buy this? You know, I'm using you as exit liquidity. And I guess that's why he's so rich, is because he's also kind of a piece of crap. I mean, if it were me and a media company, and if I was Warren Buffett and a media company came out and said, buy this stock, or not, well, I guess they didn't say buy the stock. Well, maybe they did. I don't know. But the title was the stock that he's been secretly accumulating. But they wait till the very tippy top, right? If I was Warren Buffett, I'd come out on socials or something. You know, the guy's a billionaire, freaking billionaire. So, I don't know, come out on CNBC or something and be like, you know what, I'm buying it, but you may not want to right now. You know, why isn't he doing that? Because nobody cares about you guys, but I do, right? So you just got to see through it. And it's an evil game that they play in these financial markets. So, you know, you can't beat them. So you have to join them. You have to learn the game. You have to play by their rules, because we just can't beat them. You look at what's going on with meme stocks and GME and AMC, and then obviously, you know, we can kind of try to fight back against the system, but they're always going to win. And then they restrict trading to one share on Robinhood, or, you know, they halt it a million times, right? Like, it's so manipulated. Like, until these people start going to jail, it's not going to stop, right? And it's so unfortunate that, you know, anyway, I digress from that because it fires me up. Nebraska, Finland, nice. We've got international in the house. New Haven, CT, very nice. Virginia, we got Queens, New Jersey, Michigan, nice. Yeah, 97. This custom-made McDavid jersey. Didn't do too well on the bank account, though. It definitely cost a pretty penny. But yeah, go Oilers. We're going tonight for Game 5. So hopefully we can take the first, I think it's the first lead of the series. Yeah, it was 1-0 Vancouver, then 1-1, then 2-1, now 2-2. So hopefully we can win in their barn tonight. And I'm probably going to go get a couple beverages, MJ-infused beverages, something like that. We'll see. Maybe a couple Molos. Yeah. Feeling like a Molo kind of night. THC ice cream. It's official. Yeah, no, I'd be careful. As I said, it's not official. The process officially kicked off, but rescheduling isn't official yet. But maybe you joined late, or maybe that comment was early or something. But yeah, I encourage you to go back. It's the process kicked off. Can Biden legalize with executive order? I don't think so. I'm not really 100% sure on that, to be honest. I don't think so, though. I think he has to go through like HHS, like kick off the rescheduling, and then Congress would have to act, I think. Because like Germany and Canada, they both removed it from the narcotics list, right? And effectively legalized it that way. But we'll see. Congress is starting to kind of agree, finally, for whatever reason. Like we're getting bipartisan support from things in crypto and stablecoins and things like that. So maybe, you know, we start to take a U-turn here and 180, and we start to see a lot more cooperation in Congress. And one thing I'm looking for as well, SPY hit new all-time highs and is a monthly bull flag targeting 620. One thing I'm looking for as well is interest rate cuts to start marking the top, and Congress being banned from owning stocks. I still haven't forgot about that. So I still think there's a very good chance that Congress bans themselves from owning stocks, and then after that, there's no reason to prop it up, right? It's going to be a massive bloodbath after that, right? So let's look at that Tillray chart. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Nothing has really changed. We're still holding our monthly support. We're just looking for our high or low. We could really confirm a monthly uptrend at any time. But yeah, I guess I can kind of just take a quick peek at it here for everybody. Tillray on the day today, the meme stock craze yesterday, or the day before rather, saw us move up to around 231. I think we had 238 pre-market. and then pulled back from there, started daily consolidation. If you look at GME and AMC, they both started daily consolidation, losing the low for the previous 2 days in a row. So very correlated there. And we were just waiting on a news headline, and we got that news headline today, but then got met with FUD, DEA resistance, despite the DOJ legal review, right? So it's going to happen. It's just slow and steady wins the race, and eventually we're going to get kicked into high gear, and it's just going to be bam, 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 and it's going to probably be uplisting, and then that hype, and then banking, that hype, and then actual Schedule 3 enactment, that hype. You know, we still haven't seen that on like main pages yet either. If you go to like CNBC, you're not seeing this on the main pages, right? So all of this you have to factor into your memory bank and your thought process on, you know, what's really going to send it. And we're just not seeing that mainstream media coverage yet. But yeah, on the daily time frame here, this candle right here, we're just ranging in there. It's just been a tightening range. We've just been tightening up in there. So no real clear direction unless we get above key resistance at 252 and then support at 174. Everything is just kind of, you know, basically status quo until then. But yeah, we just had a daily, well, we're gearing up for a daily EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, monthly. We closed above the EMA 12 for the first time since June of 2021 last month. So here we go. Let's see if we can get it back above it. A lot of our names are starting to trend back to their EMA 26s, unless you think that Tillray is going to just, you know, cease to exist and, you know, company is going to go away, which I don't think so. If other companies in the space are doing it, why wouldn't Tillray? So GTBIF got above its monthly EMA 26 and seeing the first ever EMA 12 and 20 EMA 12 and 26 bull cross in the monthly time frame, and it got how much percent higher than its EMA 26? It got 30% higher than its EMA 26. So if Tillray were to do something similar, that would be somewhere around $6. And again, a lot of our names in MJ are starting to trend back to their 200 weeklies. That'd put us around $6-7, right? $6.90 there for Tillray. GTBIF hit it, kissed it right on the money, right to the penny. Trueleaf came very, very close. High Tide, very, very close. SNDL within a couple bucks, right? Less than a couple bucks. So again, unless you think Tillray is going to cease to exist and just company's going to end and never open its doors ever again, which I don't think is going to happen. And if it, like, there's no guarantees, but you know, it'd be multiple years. It'd be very, very long time, right? They have so many assets that they could liquidate if needed, and they could tap the equity markets. You know, they just raised like 13 million shares or something like that, right? So not a lot of money, but not a lot of dilution. Canopy diluted 50 million, and then Organogram as well. So, you know, the writing's on the wall. But the days of unprofitable LPs are numbered, and after they're profitable, there will be no reason to dilute, right? So they'll have more cash than they know what to do with. As Boris Jordan, to quote him, co-founder and executive chairman of Cureleaf, these companies, MJ companies, are going to be high cash flowing businesses. And he said if not for 280E, they'd already be paying a dividend to investors. So let that sink in. But yeah, if Tillray gets close to back to what, you know, some of these other companies have done, that'd put us somewhere around that $5 to $7 area. And we're back above the 50 weekly. So this is good. Now we just need a week. We want 2, preferably 3 candle closes over the weekly 100 weekly moving average. That's sitting at 257. That's been a brick wall of resistance. So if we can get a couple of candle closes at least, preferably 3 over that 257 USD on the NASDAQ, then in my opinion, we're easily heading to $5 to $7 in a hurry. And then in terms of the weekly time frame here, we're seeing a bull cross the stochastic and the MACD similar to MSOS, and we're back above the 10-week moving average. So this is what you want to see. If you're only invested in Tillray, let's say you only own Tillray, well, you want to be looking at what MSOS is doing, because that's your gauge and your barometer for the U.S. companies as well. And the whole sector moves in tandem, not down to the day, the second, the minute, even the week. But if you zoom out to the monthly, zoom out to the yearly charts, they all look the same, right? If you go to the 12-month time frame, Tillray, boom, same thing. CGC, boom, same thing. High Tide, you know, not quite the same, but you know, still saw from its high to the low there, 92% of downside. Now it's starting the yearly bounce. So if Tillray were to do something similar and start the yearly bounce, we'd be back over 359, the high of last year. Okay, what's MSOS doing? Oh, that looks pretty similar. Trueleaf, TCNNF, similar, right? The yearly bounce underway. So if all these names are starting their yearly bounces, like let's just go through here. How many names are let's just go to the big ones, because AYR, yearly bounce, Cresco, getting close to a yearly bounce. Bounce just means you're breaking the high of the previous candle. Cureleaf, yearly bounce. GTII, big yearly bounce. MSOS, yearly bounce. TCNNF, big yearly bounce. TerraSen, very, very close to it. So again, like the majority are bouncing on the yearly time frame. Okay, high tide, yearly bounce. SNDL, yearly bounce. OGI, not quite, but it's been a laggard. So we'll get there. CGC, not quite been a laggard and beaten down more than others. But if it started its weekly bounce, we'd be over $32 post-split, so $3.20. And I think it was Jeremy as well in the Power Group private community today said, we want Tillray to move as fast as CGC and be like CGC. Well, I don't, because if Tillray was CGC, we'd be at $1.10 right now. Keep in mind, this is not $11. This is $1.10. So Tillray is currently at $2.10, $2.12, $2.15 after hours. So yeah, we don't want to be CGC. It's just CGC's running more because it has like 75 million shares in the float, but it had 750 million before the reverse split, right? Share price go up, share go down. Regular stock split, share price go down, shares go up. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, this is looking good. MSOS, and like I said, Tillray, MedMen's going through bankruptcy, so we'll see what happens with their assets, if that could be a potential special purpose vehicle for Tillray. As we know, SNDL said kudos to David Klein at Canopy. They're paved the way really for U.S., this novel structure for entry into the U.S. And if they're doing it, and Organogram has said through their Jupiter investments as well, that they're looking to get into the U.S. and ramp up their exposure to the U.S. market. So if they're all doing it, why wouldn't Tillray? And then also Jones Soda's partnered with Tillray. And in the recent Jones Soda report for their earnings the other day, they sound more and more like an MJ company. And they saw like revenue go from MJ beverage revenue go from 200,000 to like 600,000. So it's like a massive 300% increase, right? So we'll see what happens here, but that could be a buyout target for Tillray. Could be MedMen. We'll see. But we have the structure, and we have the blueprint essentially, and I can't see it not getting involved in the U.S. Plus, it has all its beverage brands in the U.S. that it can easily integrate MJ infused beverage into. Bunch of clowns, yeah. Oilers for the win, yeah. That's Oilers 48. Nice, love the handle. I feel like puking listening to Biden. It's not a joke. Nothing at all jump cuts. He did it in small clips. Joe better grow a set. Joe can no longer do full speeches. Oh, did you guys see that? And guys and gals see that Biden and Trump are going to be debating each other. What was it in June and September? Do you guys and gals remember the last debate? Oh, it was bad. It was so bad. I was just like cringing, but it was so entertaining. I was like, the amount of stupidity, and I don't really like stupid movies, like stupidity, like, I don't really like those funny, stupid movies, but it's just like, there's something about this. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. It's like, this is just comedy. Like, this is comical. I can't wait. I'm going to have multiple popcorn buckets ready. It's going to be awesome. Hunter buying all the MJ stocks live. Sleepy Joe loves the Indica. Yeah, it would make sense. Indica coach. It's a setup. What are the implications for the industry with descheduling versus rescheduling? So yeah, the descheduling would have to go, Alicia, would have to be Congress stepping in, as far as I'm aware. Because Congress created the CSA in the 1970s. I think it was 1970. And they'd have to remove it. And they probably have to amend the that international treaty, as I mentioned. But does he inhale? Alicia, Gov has a patent on all cannabinoids. Coke and mirrors. Patent is 6,630,507. Look at that. Charlie Munger once said, "It's not supposed to be easy. Anyone that finds it easy is stupid." Yep. And as they say, the stock market is a mechanism from transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. DEA sent approval to OMB on April 26. Thanks, Tony. LOL. Tell them to bring me my money. They are so smooth, it will take as long as it takes for them to take it over completely. Smooth manipulators. Yep. This is a joke, really. New schedule, new rules. Yeah, it's frustrating. Some of that. It's designed to be frustrating, right? Unfortunately. Yes, you're right. I see it too. Nothing to see here unless you are in the MJ business or a weed investor. If they edited it and they have to say it was edited. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they did, but it did say up to 7 years. They probably seen that it came out today and they're like, oh, we were way off, so we don't look too stupid. So I better go and edit that real quick. Hey, quick, editing team, change that. Walk that back now. I lost my place in the. Sometimes it like goes all the way back down to the beginning again, and there's like to the most up to date message, and I lose my spot. Yes, what Skibby said. Cureleaf Daniel so far up the gov butt. That's not even funny. Tillray is cheap AF right now. Yep, it definitely is. I'm in a Tillray swing position. I've got Tillray in 3 accounts right now. I got it in a long-term no-touch, holding that until the U.S. legalizes at the federal level. Got it in a shorter-term account. The longer term is a TFSA, so it's a tax-free savings account in Canada. It's all tax-free, so whatever gains I have is tax-free. And then in my shorter-term account, it's my retirement account, which is my registered retirement plan. So when I contribute, it reduces my taxable income. I just got a big fat tax return for that, and my businesses as well, and collecting receipts and Airbnb, all that stuff. But a bunch of money back from contributing to my RSP that lowered my taxable income, and then you pay tax when you take it out, which when you're retired, you're not going to be earning as much income is the idea, and then you'll be taxed at a lower rate, right? So that's, and I'm not selling any Tillray to like $10 USD, and then I'll start to scale out, 10, 15, 20. But right now I have it in my Mubu platform, just a swing trade, very short-term trade. And I bought it. My average is $2 USD, and I'm looking to sell it at around $3.50 to $4 as we confirm the monthly uptrend. If you look at SNDL, it confirmed the monthly uptrend and then went up another 25% from there. So if Tillray were to do something similar, that'd put us around 420, and would love to see 420 come into play in terms of price. But yeah, I'll be scaling out that swing position. I was in SNDL and CGC as a swing position, made about 90%. So then I rotated those into Tillray. Started buying around 220, and then again, it dipped down to like 170 or something like that. So I got an average around $2, and I'm looking to swing that one for another about 100% gain, somewhere around that $3.50 to $4 USD. And then after that, I think OGI might be a nice opportunity after that, but we'll have to evaluate whenever that comes, right? And I'll look to do something similar. Yeah, I agree. Tillray is super cheap. Agreed. I think the industry needs new money to come in, and they probably won't happen until they list to the NASDAQ. Yeah, a lot of people just, they see it's OTC, or they just physically can't, right? Their brokers they restrict the trading to the Canadian exchanges, OTC. Some people can't even buy MSOS ETF, right? So, you have to keep that in mind. And yeah, these big institutions can't play in it yet. There's a reason why. There's hundreds of millions and millions of shares traded in Tillray and CGC and Aurora, and only, a few million. Like Tillray in one day in March 2022 had $2.2 billion traded just on the NASDAQ alone. $2.2 billion with a B traded hands just on the NASDAQ. And then that day, I think, just for context, Truly have only traded like 13 million or like 15 million. So it's like night and day, right? But just remember, with legalization comes lower cost, and then there's going to be tons. If there's no longer 280E, think of all the companies in the U.S. that are going to start up, right? It's going to be harder because of the licenses and things like that, but, and it's very hard to get licenses in some states, but, eventually there's going to be a lot of competition like there is in Canada, right? Over 1,000 producers, thousands of retailers. There's more retail MJ shops than there are McDonald's in Canada. It's crazy. And yeah, it's just not sustainable. It's going to be a weeding out, right? No pun intended. But in the U.S., when there's no longer 280E, like think of how many people are reluctant to get into the MJ space in the U.S. because of 280E, right? They're going to be paying tax on their gross, not their net, right? So it's, very unattractive for an investor. And some, like Kevin O'Leary said he was interested in investing, but can't because his lawyer said it's on Schedule 1. He crazy, right? So those are all coming soon, right? But yeah, it's We're so early, it's not even funny. Tillray, same unrestricted cash as all of them, maybe not marketable securities like a lot of them. Yep. I feel like they're trying to hold LPs down in favor of US MSOs. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the same thing happened in Canada, and I don't think people are going to learn, right? Everybody, it was all LPs. Nobody cared about the US companies. And then after legalization rolled out, the price wars went, right? Everybody was like, well, I'm not paying all this money. And like the quality wasn't there. They had mold, right? There was issues. Nobody had grown at scale before. So, I mean, a lot of these, the US companies kind of have a head start on, or well, kind of already can basically develop the experience ahead of legalization. But, you know, eventually LPs are going to sell in the US as well. Right now, the US companies aren't selling in Canada, right? Except for, well, I guess Curaleaf just acquired, it's now a multi-country operator, to quote Boris Jordan again. But they're now in Canada as well with Northern Green Canada. So they just acquired. So now, you know, Curaleaf is an LP, and essentially Canopy is an MSO because it has Jetty and Wana and acreage, right? So we're seeing it happen. But the thing is Canada never really had to deal with competition from the US producers and MSOs. But believe you me, there's a reason. Constellation, Altria, British American Tobacco, you know, Imperial Brands, they're not going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars into these Canadian companies if they don't think that they're going to be able to sell in the US one day. Do you really think that they would do that? Like, are we all smarter than them? Are we smarter than multi-billion-dollar companies? Because that's essentially what people are saying when they say that Canadian companies are garbage. There's no point in owning them. They'll never sell in the US. Okay, so you're smarter than, you know, collectively $1 trillion company, because all of these companies together are worth almost $1 trillion. So you, as an average Joe and Jane and retail investor, are smarter than $1 trillion valuation of all these companies. I highly doubt it. Think of all the research they would have, and lawyers and you know, market research they'd be doing, right? And just wherewithal and wisdom and experience. So that's one thing the U.S. companies are going to have to deal with as well, is competition from the Canadian LPs. Who knows when, but it's going to happen. And around the world. And that's why I think Curaleaf is awesome, because they remind me so much of Tillray. And they're focusing on a lot of the same markets. And there's a reason why they're both not profitable yet, is because they're focusing on their international footprint, and they're operating in, I think Tillray is like, forget how many countries. I think it's definitely over 10 or 20. I think it's like in the 30s, or it's a lot. But yeah, once the U.S. legalizes, the price is going to come down. Margins are going to go down. 280, you'll go away. That'll be huge. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Just don't forget what you learned in Canada, right? After legalization. Lock in profits. Not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but lock in profits. After full-blown legalization in the U.S., whether it be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's going to be turbulent. They're going to have turbulence as well, right? And yeah, it's never easy. And at the end of the day, I think there might be new problems. There might be some of the same problems. There might be problems that the U.S. companies don't have that Canada did, because, you know, they were able to watch it. But at the end of the day, there's going to be problems. So head on a swivel. 100, I hate all politicians. Yeah, I mean, like Nancy Mace, I mean, she seems like she's pretty awesome, right? I mean, I don't want to say I paint them all with a broad brush, but yeah, I can't stand like 99% of it. Won't hold LPs down. We own their asses. Exchange rates makes them eventually buy us if they are smart. Yeah, and I think that the U.S. is going to default on its debt. And yeah, the U.S. dollar is going to lose its world reserve currency, and they're going to go over to a new system. And it's going to be an interesting time in the markets. Like I said, SPY hitting all-time high, monthly bull flag, but now's the time to be cautious. I'm still going to hold my MJ through it, but check out the video how I'm preparing for one of the worst market crashes in history. I'm still not going to sell my MJ. I think MJ could be the best performing sector over the next few years. But if SPY were to drop 10%, 20% in a day, like it did in, you know, March 2020, around there, well, obviously MJ is going to get crushed, right? But it should recover faster and perform the best as we look for bear markets in crypto and big tech. Same thing happened with MJ in 2018 and the Canadian legalization as well. Montreal, baby, telling all my friends to get in. Soon FOMO. Yeah, you bet. Yeah, we're nowhere near FOMO yet, and still haven't really saw any meaningful squeezes yet. I like your Tillray graphic representing Hexo Redecan, especially Afria. Thanks, Gibby. Yeah, I made it myself. One big happy family now. You got the Redecan king there too. The Redecan logo. Oh yeah, you did mention Redecan. Yeah. So yeah, you got Let the Good Times Roll. That was after the acquisition of all the companies by Tillray. But yeah, I mean, just think about it. It's Tillray, Afria, Hexo, Redecan. Redecan was the only profitable company in Canada before Hexo acquired them, but they were a private company. So, but now it's all one big public company. Like, let that sink in for a minute. Tillray, Hexo, Afria, and Redecan, and Zenabis, and everything else that they acquired through, along the line. I forget the other ones. But yeah, like, anybody who says that, Tilray's going bankrupt or they're garbage is just like, dude, you're looking at price and trying to evaluate a company? Is that what you're doing? That's definitely what you're doing. Right? And guess what? Amazon dropped 95% and almost went bankrupt. So did Apple, right? Tesla almost went bankrupt too. They said if they didn't bend the knee to the SEC, that they would have went bankrupt. So, and price ranged for like 2,000 days on Tesla before it broke out, right? So if you're trying to evaluate a company or to try to figure out like an investment to see if it's good for the long term, if you're looking at price and that's your, oh, it's high price, so it's good. Oh, it's low price, so it's bad. Well, when do you want to buy something? When it's low. So how does that logic make any sense? Oh, if the price is low, it's a bad company, bad investment. Okay, but how do you expect to get the money from the growth when you need to buy low to get the gains? It's like, people are so, like, they just got it all ass backwards, right? It's like back asswards. So I don't know. It's just, you try to preach this again and again and again. It's just, but people just don't learn, right? Because that's all charts are, is tracking emotions and what people are doing and buying and selling and how they're feeling in a particular point in time, right? And yeah, that's why it's good to understand charts and emotions and keep your emotions in check. Didn't Simon say rescheduling would allow Tillray to enter some states that choose to be medical without losing any licenses? Yeah, he did say that, but it's not official yet. So we'll see. Basically, it would just be through their medical channel. It would open up medical channels in the U.S. We'll just have to wait and see. Either way, it's going to happen. It's either going to be Schedule 3 or descheduling. Even if it's Schedule 3 and they don't bypass it and deschedule it, the CAOA doesn't gain traction. They don't federally legalize it, leave it up to the states as well. If it's, individual states have to keep legalizing, right? There's 38 right now that have it in some form, 24 that are adult use. We're halfway there, right? So it's going to happen. Eventually it's going to be federally legal, and then eventually Tillray will be selling in the US, right? Same with all these other companies in Canada. So it's just, just take it as it comes. We're so early. It's only going to happen once. Just be grateful you're even able to take advantage of it, right? If it happens, we've been waiting. We've been in a brutal, almost 4-year bear market where we're down 89% on every name, basically, in MJ. If we have to wait another few years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, who cares, right? But yeah, it's not 100% guaranteed yet if they're going to be able to do that in the U.S. I love your passion to help. Thank you very much, Happy. I appreciate it. Simon says, sell MedMen assets, put some Vashnet in your bank. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Slapping, but some sort of joke, I assume. New York, very nice. Rennie, we have Grit and Grunt. Change the rules. We need our own stock exchange, the people's stock market. Yeah. Yeah. Drop the people's elbow. Let's go. I forget. I didn't actually check. We got almost 120 viewers still here after an hour, but we must have been close to 200 viewers there at one point, but forgot to check during the peak. But yeah, great stream, and really do appreciate everybody spending some time with me here today and all your comments in the live chat. Cashish in the bank. No, we can't. Correct. It's up to Congress. Buying the rumor for sure. Biden comes out with reschedule news a day after he says he wants to debate Trump. Very curious. Yeah, well, like I said, it's almost his political death sentence if he doesn't do anything with MJ. If he doesn't get it rescheduled before the election, you're not going to win. Dems are effed. And maybe he comes out and does a 180 on crypto too and says, I love both of them. And then Trump's going to be like, oh, damn. And then imagine if he's like, I love MJ too. I don't smoke it, but smoke until your heart's content. No one's ever died from it. Do they call you Mr. Potato Head PEI? No, they don't. But they might call Stompin' Tom that. Warren is going to invest in it. Depends soon. Warren, Warren Buffett and MJ. Yeah, well, again, if Kevin O'Leary can't, then, Warren Buffett certainly can't. So, essentially, we're here before Warren Buffett and Kevin O'Leary, right? And all these other JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley's, Goldman Sachs, all these companies, Fortune 500 companies like Coca-Cola. Remember the rumor of Coca-Cola and Aurora way back in the day? Eventually, Coke's going to get into it. They have coffee in their drinks now. They have caffeine? Why can't they have medicine of the future? CBD, right? Maybe they won't be into psychoactive, but they're definitely going to have CBD in some sort of hemp drink, in my opinion. It has to happen. It's just like the biggest beverage company in the world. Why wouldn't they? And then rescheduling to Schedule 3, stigma goes away, right? Slowly. New younger people start to come into Congress. We get more progressive thinking, younger people with a brain. They're not going to clown school. I mean, political school. But yeah, I'm still really curious. Did Ann Milgram sign this? Because that is the $1 million question. Could Tillray be profitable if they cut expenses? Well, yeah, there's been a lot of SG&A trying to cut down on costs and things like that, and cost of goods sold. But yeah, I mean, they're planning. It's like any high growth industry, right? They're planning for 10, 20 years out, right? They're building the footprint for 10, 20 years from now. They're not like us. They're not thinking I want to be rich tomorrow, or I want to see some changes tomorrow, right? Again, and I have to state this, and I know some people are going to be like, he's comparing this to Amazon again. What an idiot. It's like, no, stop it. Listen, Amazon dropped 95%, almost went bankrupt. Apple went almost bankrupt if they didn't get a $150 million investment from Microsoft. They saved them, and now Apple's worth more than Microsoft. Tesla almost went bankrupt. Are they selling Schedule 1 narcotics? No. So if they dropped 95%, if they almost went bankrupt, well, a company that is selling MJ, which is on the same list as heroin, that is federally illegal in the U.S., we're early. It's going to take time, right? Amazon, if you invested in Amazon in 2001, whenever it had that big dip, you had to wait how long, right? Let's just go back and check real quick. I'm going to start wrapping it up, but I just want to see how long it was. We go to the monthly chart here, the .com days. So yeah, we hit the lows. So the all-time highs was at $4, but that wasn't life-changing wealth, right? From the low, it went up 82x. Okay, so if you invested at the very lows, in the pennies, right, you're looking at $1,000 investment into 80 grand, right? That's a lot. But if you bought at the beginning and then held till now, well, that's 2 million%. I think that's what it said, yeah. But anyway, just to prove a point, how long did it take to go back and hit a new all-time high? It took 2,923 days to hit a new all-time high. So so we'll go to the 12-month chart. So we go to the low there of 2001 to when we hit a new all-time high. So it took 8 years. Okay, it took 8 years, and from the low to the new all-time high was only 23x. So if you invested $1,000 there at the low to the new all-time high, well, you had to wait 2,922 days. They weren't selling Schedule 1 narcotics, federally illegal in the U.S. Some countries offering the death penalty for simple possession. forget trafficking, possession, it took 2,922 days or 8 years, and you only would, if you invested $1,000 in Amazon at the lows, you'd only have 27,000, right? 8 years later. Okay. What if you held until 10 years later? Well, you'd have $1,000 would turn into $46,000. Okay. What if you held for 17 years? Well, you'd now have $335,000. If you held till today, you'd have $706,000. Okay. So it takes a long time, and they're not selling Schedule 1 illegal drugs. So hopefully this helps and that makes sense, because I just don't understand how people don't understand that. I just need Tillray to go to 3 cents a day. Is that too much to ask for? Can you smoke catnip? I don't know. You try it. Let us know. 89% of my money is in Tillray with a 191 average, holding for gold. That's a great average. Yeah, I think my MJ portfolio, I've done a 2024 update. I think it's like just over 30% of my MJ portfolio. Don't they have to include a retraction if they change an article? Yeah, somebody else mentioned that, Alicia, in the live stream, but they must. I don't know. Tillray 217 aftermarket at the moment. Yep. It was like 215 last time I checked. Key question: will the Canadian LPs be allowed to export to medical providers in the U.S. under Schedule 3? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. So we're not 100% sure yet. Tillray seems to think it is possible. I think it would have to go through the FDA. I mentioned that and there's no real precedent for it. So I think we talked about it in my Morgan Fox political director of Normal interview. And he thinks that it'd be a long process and cost a lot of money, take some time. So we'll see what happens. But I used to work for a pharmaceutical company, and they were selling opioids and got fined billions of dollars. And let me tell you, talk of the town for like 2 years was like, how do we get into this MJ business? It's like, I can't count how many times I heard the word cannabinoid in like 2 years. And it's like, okay, if these big if these big opioid makers and pharmaceutical companies are, just that's all they can talk about for 2 years after Canada legalizes it, just imagine what's going to happen after the U.S. legalizes. And we're on the cusp of it, right? So we're gearing up for massive change. 22 countries, I think Simon said. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere around that 20 to 30 mark. What's the MJ you were holding? So if you just go to my channel, just go to my YouTube channel, and anywhere you should be able to just hit the search button and put in portfolio. My MJ portfolio 2024 update. I did add VFF, so Village Farms, to my portfolio the other day. So that was added on there. I think I added Nevis Brands as well, just a very, very small position in that one, but I'll have to do another one update maybe at the end of the first half of 2024. Maybe I'll do another update, and then another one for beginning of 2025. Smash the like, appreciate it. So what would DOT do if they only test Schedule 1 with MJ moving to 3? What would DOT? Did you mean DOJ or DO? I'm not sure what you meant by that. ACB has been brutal, waiting for that breakout in the med space. Yeah, it's ACB and CDC very reminiscent of each other, right? And it's just once the darlings become the dogs. So, but we'll see. They're very differentiated, so I think they could very well come back and be a huge beneficiary of the landscape changing for the industry. But yeah, smash the like. Thanks, Drone. I appreciate it. I just opened my dispensary in Madison, New York. Native Haze MJ Company grand opening is Saturday, 2 p.m. with band Seven Wonders, Fleetwood Mac, trivia band Tattoo, Boss, food trucks, and more. That's awesome, Scott. Congratulations. If anybody's in the area, check out Scott's dispensary. Congratulations. My dream of mine has been to open a canna pub where you can go in and just get all different types of beers with MJ infused. So you can see why I like Tillray so much. I love craft beer and I love MJ. So what's not to like with Tillray? Okay, my question is, this is good news and all, but why haven't the share prices moved? So again, it's not approved. It's just the beginning of the process, right? And what I think is really going to, and again, people have been already expecting it. Monthly uptrends are confirming, and there's still some names yet to confirm monthly uptrends. So we're going to see it slow and steady. But what I think is really going to send stocks higher in MJ is going to be uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, which I think we could get over the next coming months. We could get news that the NASDAQ's going to allow it to happen, maybe even the NYSE. The NASDAQ is warming up to Canadian companies with U.S. exposure. There's nothing preventing them from a legal standpoint from listing U.S. companies. It's more of just a choice and optics. So in my opinion, it's going to happen soon. And I think that's what's going to send it. Safe banking finally getting approved would be another catalyst. Florida on the ballot getting approved, that'd be another catalyst. Pennsylvania, Ohio coming online. Germany fast-tracking Pillar 2, another European country taking the same kind of step as Germany. More states legalizing that we haven't talked about yet. Big companies entering the space. Canada easing excise taxes, advertising rules. MJ on a Super Bowl ad. Like I could just go on for like days on all these amazing catalysts that we're going to experience, right? But other countries adopting it, so and embracing the medicine of the future. So if you think it's frustrating here, look at Thailand. Legal, it's not legal. It's legal, it's not legal. We're for it, we're not for it. It's like, which one is it? Come on. It's not that difficult, guys and gals. Hello, my friend. Thank you very much. Hello. Thanks for your comment. Thanks for joining. Fear no evil. How you doing? I'm pretty sure she didn't sign Jack. Just fine. It'd be so funny if we came out with an article tomorrow. Ann Milgram officially signs. Big F you to Kevin Sabat. It's so funny today. That was the first thing I thought about. I was like, did Ann Milgram sign it, though? Someone get Kevin Sabat on the line. What's that? He's busy at clown school? Oh, okay. All good. You mentioned Coke with CBD when Coke at some point has actual Coke in it. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah. If they did that, then pretty sure MJ should be fine. What happened to Cureleaf, one of the largest in the U.S., but down today? Yeah, it's just, like you say, it's just price action on a daily basis. Doesn't really mean anything. When in doubt, zoom out. Look at the monthly. We have monthly uptrends confirming first ever on MSOS. Big holding in MSOS is Cureleaf. And in my opinion, Cureleaf's going to be an absolute global juggernaut. It's my second biggest holding. Not financial advice, but do your own research. Just, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold or what to do, but it's just my own thoughts and opinions. But, look out to the monthly, look at the yearly. They're all starting to look the same. The best is the yearly. Look at the yearly chart, because all of them I showed earlier in the stream, they're starting the yearly bounce, breaking the high of the previous yearly candle, the 12-month candle. So again, one by one, they start to all come along. And some names that haven't done so yet are Tillray, OGI, CGC, ACB, some other names in the US. Usually the tier ones do it first, then the lower tiers, right? Tier 2, tier 3. So after we start to see, 10, 20 X's on some of these tier ones, then the money will trickle down to the tier 2s and the small caps and the tier 3s, right? I'm referring to Department of Transportation for Class A drivers. Okay. So what would the DOT do if they only test Schedule 1 with... Yeah, that's something I've been saying I don't know, honestly. I'm not going to bullshit and pretend like I do. That's one thing I've been following as well is... how are they going to police it, right? Like how some people literally can't stop shaking, and then they have a little bit of MJ, and then they're like, fine, right? Seizures, things like that. There's people that actually take this as medicine, and yeah, I don't know how they're gonna. And it's different, right? I don't think you should smoke and drive, right? But me as someone who's been consuming for almost 20 years, I don't think it impairs my driving. But I still try not to do it, right? Because you can get in trouble, right? I'd be a liar if I said I've never done it before. I'll be completely honest. But I would never have done it when I was new, right? Because anybody who's consumed for a long period of time, it's way different when you first start versus now, right? So it's such a fine line. I don't know how they're going to do that. I mean, obviously it's probably going to be illegal, and they're going to have some tests for it, but Yeah, maybe you can only drive if you have like a certain medical status or card. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they come out with that language and legislation. Thanks, man. You bet. Thanks, Devontae. What's it going to take for MJ government to alter their current taxation of MJ companies? Probably the U.S. altering their taxation. And guess what's happening? The process of rescheduling in the U.S. What would happen if they actually enact rescheduling? 280E goes away. What are the Canadians going to want to do if U.S. gets rid of its big tax, additional tax? They're probably going to want to ease on their additional excise tax as well, right, to compete. So that's what it's probably going to take. These exchanges benefit from the uplisting the MSO, so I think it's going to happen soon. I agree. I like that slow and steady than high volatility. Yeah. As they say, big moves up or elevator moves down, right? No support equals fade it all back, right? Thanks for hanging out with us, Rod. Definitely very helpful, boosting retail confidence every now and then. Cheers, bro. Cheers. You bet. Thanks for joining and thanks for sticking around. Still got over 100 people. Well over 100 people, so really do appreciate it. Goes both ways. Clown school. It actually makes some people drive better, more focused on their surroundings. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I'm not going to endorse driving and consuming MJ because of the fact of the matter is 80 to 90% of people just shouldn't do it. Like I saw like one person I know smoked MJ and like started to like gouge their eyes out. And I was like, what the hell? It's like, if I don't like intervene, this person's going to lose their eyeballs. So like, and I just straight up told him, I was like, you shouldn't smoke weed. Like, I don't know what it does to you, but and then there's certain strains, but all this research and studies and things like this, right? It's going to, certain cannabinoids are going to be good for certain people, right? Our endocannabinoid system. And we have CBD and THC receptors in our body, right? So eventually, AI is going to be able to help with that as well. It's like, okay, this is good for you and this is good for you. This isn't good for you. This isn't good for you, right? You get a cannabinoid, you get a cannabinoid, you get a cannabinoid. But yeah, it's going to be like, there's so much growth ahead. And one thing too is AI is going to help with the innovation of growing. So all of these, indoor grow facilities and outdoor grow facilities, like all of this innovation and technology is going to be just enhanced by AI. So that's one thing that we have to keep in mind as well. But yeah, I've heard that argument that some people, it makes them drive better. They drive slower. They're more concentrated. I mean, yeah, I would just say that's got to be like a very small percentage of people though. So like if I were somebody making laws, I wouldn't be like, okay, everybody smoke weed and drive. Like I would never do that. I'd have to like have some kind of something in there. I don't know. Like it's such a weird topic, to be honest. Like I wouldn't want to be the one making that rule, to be honest, because I don't know how I would do it. I think it should still be illegal, right? Unless you have some kind of medical card or status, then maybe okay. But I don't know. It's hard to say. What do you think of Leafly stock? Yeah, so Leafly partnered with Uber, wasn't it? Leafly and Uber. Uber Eats and Leafly delivery partnership. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's partnered with Uber. I think it could be a decent, I don't own it, but yeah, I have nothing bad to say about it. Could be a decent pick long term. I probably wouldn't like mortgage the house or put like a majority of my capital into it, but certainly I think it could be a well addition to a diversified portfolio for sure. S&L has been on a nice steady climb. Yeah, it has been. Monthly uptrend confirmed as well. So first time, I think in history, it confirmed a monthly uptrend. And an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. Same as MSOS. Only $4.2 million market cap. Yeah, very small, right? Price, PS value of 0.08. Soon brand will want to spend and put up expenses with which Leafly will be the best way as probably Facebook and Instagram won't be approved. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, to be honest, but wish them the best. A rising high tide lifts all boats. Your friend had other extenuating problems. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but oh, the eye thing? Yeah. The eyeball gouging? Yeah, it's like, I don't know. But then there was another guy. That one was a girl, and the second one was one of my good buddies, and he smoked, or I think he smoked. Yeah, I think he had like a. I think he had. Somebody gave him a dab or something like that at one of my parties, and he just like started hallucinating, and like I had to like I put him to bed on my couch because he couldn't go home, and I put him on the couch, and I'm like, okay, I got you a blanket, like some pillow, you comfortable? And he was like, he just couldn't even respond. And he'd been drinking too, right? But, beer before, or what is it? MJ before beer, you're in the clear. MJ after liquor, never been sicker or something like that. But, yeah, he got the spins. But then it was like worse from that. Once I put him down on the couch, he was like hallucinating, and he was like starting to like swinging at things in front of him. And I'm like, maybe I need to like, and he almost like hit me a few times. I was like, maybe I have to like sit here with you until you fall asleep. He's like, yes, please. It's just like, what? Like, how? I remember my first joint. No, and I don't. That was not like me at all. Have you ever seen the movie Half Baked? They say people don't get high their first time. Well, not me. Not us. We were really, really high. Ebba Zebba, you're my only friend. I want to watch that movie again soon. I'm going to watch Dumb Money here, I think, tomorrow. Still haven't seen it. I've seen the science that says that two types of people shouldn't smoke MJ, people under the age of 20 and schizophrenics. Yeah, that sounds about right. Developing brain, everything like that, right? But is there a way that we get info about MedMen and Germany updates? Yeah, I think we should see it on mainstream media soon, Sam. We'll find out about it when they want us to find out about it, unfortunately, unless we got boots on the ground, correspondents in those areas or in those fields or companies. But I don't have any. So funny, you hear all these people like their connections, their sources, and crypto, and then now you're hearing it in MJ, and it's like, must be nice having all these connections, eh? I don't have any connections. I just use my brain in the most likely scenario. I don't have people in DC, or I'm not getting paid by MJ companies like a lot of these other media companies are, and I've never accepted $1 from any MJ company. Maybe I would in the future. I can't see why I wouldn't. I mean, if someone's going to offer to pay me money to talk about their company, I mean, I'd disclose it, but I don't see anything wrong with it. But, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, too. I have 33% in MSOX, 33% in High Tide, 20% in Leafly, and the rest in CBST. Very nice. Yeah, well, ETFs are usually the way for most people. And MSOX being the leveraged one. So, do you have TerraSend in your portfolio, Rod? No, I do not. But Canopy, I have Canopy in my portfolio, and I think they own, I think it was 17%. And then the last time I think on the call, they said 13% ownership in TerraSend. So indirectly, I guess I own TerraSend, and then maybe TerraSend's in MSOS as well. I don't know if it's in that ETF, which I hold MSOS. So it's actively managed as well. So they're always buying and selling, right? So. But no, I never really, TerraSend never really spoke to me. Like a lot of the U.S. companies, they're very redundant. It reminds me of the early days in Canada. They're all very similar. They don't really have a moat or any kind of competitive advantage. They're all just kind of trying to do the same thing, except Cureleaf. Cureleaf is why I really like Cureleaf. Is they're international. They're multi-country now, is what they say, right? And they're very similar to Tillray. They have a lot of the same markets as Tillray, and they're getting into beverages. Tillray's into beverages, so I really like Cureleaf, but I just try to find companies that are differentiating themselves, that have great assets, great brands, great products. Like as long as I'm on this earth, I'll be buying Tillray products. I can't say that for Cureleaf because Cureleaf doesn't sell here, and I haven't bought any of their products yet. I'll have to go on a trip to the U.S. and do some of this, but it's only going to get better as it legalizes, right? Because the quality in Canada when they legalized was crap, and now it's like amazing, right? I can buy an awesome bag of weed for an ounce of weed for like $50 US. And it's good stuff. Like, look at this shit. Look at that. And the smell just about fell off my chair. I got it in this Cannara Biotech Nugs jar, stash jar. And yeah, it's just like, look at that freaking thing. And look at these buds. This is from Tillray, bake sale. Like, look at the size of those things. And it's like every single one's like that. $50 for an ounce. Okay. It's like whenever Canada legalized, after like the first couple of months, everybody's like, okay, then, you know, the hype's worn off and my bank account is like negative. So I'm going to go back to my guy because he gives me like a way better deal and it's better stuff. And then eventually price came down in Canada, drove down margins, right? Look at SNDL. They're only making like 25% margins on there. And then TrueLeaf had like 58% margin. Well, that's because they're selling in the medical. People are like getting it. It's still illegal, right? And then once there's competition, once the LP sell there, goodbye 58% margin. That's not going to happen. Even if 280E goes away, goodbye 58%. Like maybe they ramp up that later on, but it's going to come down and then it'll come back up, in my opinion. The average ounce in the US, like $300 US. Canada, I just got that, I told you, for $50 US. And like there's no shortage of like Cannara Biotech. This stuff here, Tribal, comes in like a tuna can. It's really cool. And it's freaking amazing. It's quad A and 23% and 2.4% terpenes, called Drip Station. Really, really good. It's an indica. And I really like it. Pheno number 15. And yeah, this was $20 Canadian. So like, what would that be? Like $16, $17 US for a 3.5 gram? For like the cream of the crop, like the best, like quad A, right? So yeah, it's like it's not gonna be sustainable. Is there a way that all of us Tillray investors to have a way to send a letter to Tillray or request an interview here so we can sign something for you to represent us? Show Irwin that we are there. Yeah, the best way to do it would be to go to Tillray's page and go to investors and then just email their investor relations and say we want. I would love that, actually, because that's actually how I got an interview with Hexo. Was I knew some people that worked for Hexo, and one guy told me, I went to work today and everybody at Hexo was talking about your video about Tillray. so like you got like, you know, thousands of employees at Hexo are talking about Powell Group's video, and that had to do with the conversion of the debt, which it wasn't true. They didn't actually convert it, but then they did, and then they did buy Hexo. So, you know, we saw it coming. But yeah, so, and then after that, Charlie was like, okay, yeah, I'll interview you. And he probably knew that he was on the outs, right? Because Tillray was going to acquire them. So he's probably like, well, you know, this guy's been covering us. He's been fair and, you know, has been saying nothing but supporting us. So I think he felt bad. I didn't know that they were being acquired when I did the interview, right? So, and he even said if Tillray acquires Hexo, they're going to acquire the best MJ company in the world. And I've said that. I mean, Redecan and Hexo, Redecan was profitable. In my opinion, Redecan was the crown jewel. And yeah, it's truly the best MJ company in the world, in my opinion. But yeah, the best way, like I said, I think he felt bad because he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be CEO for longer because they're going to acquire us. So I think him and Julius Ivanitz, the CFO, I think they interviewed with me because they knew they weren't going to be there for long and that might be their only opportunity. So, but yeah, that's how I got my interview with Hexo. So I would encourage, if you're on a live stream, if you're on like an earnings call, if you're on a live stream with Tillray, I would say the best way for you to do it would be to go to Tillray.com. But I would appreciate it that, like, we've got 100 people here on the stream. What I would encourage you to do as well is, and I'll ask them the tough questions too. I won't, you know, do these softball, t-ball type, you know, questions where, oh, you know, you had this much revenue and this much free cash flow, blah, blah, blah. Congrats on the great quarter. What do you want to tell investors? Like, no, there'll be none of that. Like, and most of these companies don't want me to interview them because I ask them the tough questions. Like in my interview with Nevis Brand CEO, John Keeber, you know, there's a going concern in your MD&A, your management discussion and analysis? Can you tell us a bit about that? Like the concern that might have with investors, like things like that, right? Like the inability to continue operating. But no, other companies and media and interviews just want to be like, congrats on the great quarter. What do you have to say? It's like, we've seen that a million times. Go on CNN, go on BNN, go on CNBC, go on BNN, go on Fox Business, right? You can tell us all there, right? They're not really asking any of the hard questions. And some of the hard questions I would ask is, obviously MedMen with Tillray, more on Germany. What about medical in the US? How do they know that? Why do they say that? What else do they know? What are their thoughts on descheduling? What are their thoughts on being able to sell into the US? What potential roadblocks there? Like I'd have so many questions, I wouldn't even be able to ask them all, right? But I'd obviously consult with the community and everybody on here. But yeah, the best way to get in contact with them would be to go to the media contact. So if you go to investors, and there's a form there. So you just fill that out. And so just again, if you go to Tillray Brands, investors, scroll down, media contact, and then fill out that form. There might have even been one on the main page here. Man, they need a new website. Reminds me of Hexo's website, but yeah. Here it is here. Yeah, look at all those countries. South Africa, Cyprus, yeah, like they're all over. Oh, okay, got sidetracked. But yeah, already the biggest, fifth largest craft brewer in the U.S. in a very short period of time. Like, that's huge. Yeah, there's a contact button right there. I'm blind. Late in the day. So yeah, business development, export opportunities, research, partnerships, media requests. So to be media requests. Investor relations as well, but I would say it's probably media requests. So here, I'll just post it in the chat. Anybody that's still on here or that is viewing this in the future, if you just send them an email and say, we want POW, we want change, right? But yeah, if you just go on there, I might have to mute myself here. Say, yeah, there we go. So yeah, if you just fill this out and say, we would love if you do an interview with POW, because I've already emailed them, and maybe I'll email them again. Maybe I'll email them again and just kind of repeat myself, I guess. But yeah, you can either fill that out. That'd be the best way. And then I'll get all the hard questions answered. Don't you worry. And a lot of these companies or interviewers send the questions up beforehand. I mean, I will do that if they want, but I'd rather not, because I want to see their reaction. I want them to be surprised. I want to see their reaction. I want to see, are they nervous? Are they like, oh, what's the first word out of their mouth, right? Are they moving a lot in their chair? Like, what are their body language, right? What's the tone of voice? Are they excited when they respond to it? Are they not excited, right? All of these things play a factor. And if they, again, the T-ball questions, if they're expecting it, probably not going to be the best. And if they say, I don't want to answer that, or I can't answer that, or no comment, well, then that's fine, right? But that's all they have to say. So I don't see why you should have to send it. Remember when the SEC, they were basically, it was a testimony, like testifying. I think it was Gary Gensler was like testifying in front of Congress, and they were basically grilling him and asking him all these questions. Forget exactly when it was, but it was later on found out that he was like talking with Elizabeth Warren before the actual hearing, and then she's like, "Oh, let me know if these questions work for the chair. Definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot." It's like, you're Congress, you're the senator, you're the ones who are supposed to be overseeing him. Why are you like, "Oh, we don't want to, are these okay with you, Mr. Gensler?" Like, it's just so stupid. So no, like I don't like, to be honest, I don't even really like doing interviews. It's not really my favorite thing. It takes a lot of time to prep. What else? I'm just not super interested in interview. Like, I can't imagine doing it all the time, but I'll only interview people if they let me do it my way. I'm not going to come on here and be like, congrats on the good quarter, 3% year over year growth. And it's like, dude, like, I seen 5 interviews with the same thing today. Like, I don't care about that, right? You come on my show, I ask you the questions. If you don't want to answer, just say I don't want to answer. Simple as that. But at least we get to see body language. And that's probably why they don't want to respond to me either, is because they know I'm going to ask them tough questions. Why are you bullish on XRP with all of the float they can dilute? Well, with XLM, they actually burned their escrow, and XRP, I don't know if they would burn it. It's like saying I'm not bullish on Exxon because they own a lot of oil, right? Or, it's like the Exxon of oil to crypto. The fact that there's the escrow and it's locked shows you that they're not doing anything bad with it. They're trying to be as, good stewards of the ecosystem. And also they might even get a fine from the US SEC, and the US government might even come after the escrow, kind of like the, when they confiscated gold and everything. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. There's way more, look at the derivatives market. It's like quadrillions, right? I think it's like 1.2 quadrillion. Like, it's not going to matter if it's 100 billion or 100 trillion. Well, the derivatives is just worth 1.2 quadrillion, some maybe even higher now. But yeah, I'm not worried about the escrow at all. And everybody thinks Bitcoin can't be created more than 21 million. Well, yeah, it can. If you control the hash power, you can change anything. So, and yeah, anything can be changed. XRP is actually decentralized, and Bitcoin, it's proven that there's like 3 major mining pools in China. So, plus XRP's native to the US. Like, Ripple's located in Silicon Valley. So, why wouldn't they want to? And Trump just recently said crypto, not Bitcoin. He said crypto, and wants to be non-hostile. He wants to remove the hostility towards crypto. And they're based out of Silicon Valley and born and bred American. So why wouldn't they pick them? Ripple and XRP not to be confused with a centralized company. Ripple's a company. XRP is a digital asset. XRP was created before Ripple, actually, fun fact. Don Murphy is a good man in the industry. Yeah, absolutely. Doing God's work for sure. She gave him the list of questions and responses. Oh, yeah, it was the responses too, hey? Yeah. MJS, yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot. But yeah, I am wearing my XRP hat today. If you go to powmerch.ca, I've got a bunch of merch on there. I got a bunch of new ones. Actually, shout out to Grant who sent me this one. This is the Hexo Molo one, XMG, POW Rod on the back. Pretty sick. And then, what else? Got my Tillray hat. I put a bunch of new hats on Tillray on there as well. This is pretty sweet. Got my Blue Jays hat. So I got quite the collection of hats going here. So. Robert, you're the best. Yeah, his name is Rodney. Rod. Yeah, I get Rob all the time. I get Ron the odd time, but yeah, it's Rod with a D, Rodney, like Rodney Dangerfield. Not a very popular name, but yeah. Maybe it's because your name is Robert that you thought my name was Robert. Robert, you're the best MJ reporter, and you know it. I'm trying to make more now about you. Thanks. You bet. Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. Like I say, I definitely take pride in my work, and I'm not the most popular out there because I'm not on here trying to do clickbait. I'm not on here trying to tell you everything you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the cold hard truth and what you need to hear. And sometimes people don't always like it, but that's life, right? So, but as long as we're doing it in a respectful way, you're not hurting anybody's feelings or, being an asshole, right? All right, going to end it there. That was fun. All right, have a great night, everybody. Go Oilers, go. Let's get first lead of the series and bring it back home. Close it out. All right, have a great night, everybody. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. It's Rod with Power Group, and we'll see you again on the next video.